Come on.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the only podcast produced by three two-time winners of IMSA's Spirit of the Race Award. You're listening to the Check Engine Podcast. We're hosted on Anchor.fm and we are streamed worldwide on all those platforms that you use to listen to your favorite shows. The usual gang is here. My name is Nick. Andrew and Tristan are there on the other side. What's happening, fellas?
I heard that as my name is Nick, Andrew, and Tristan.
Oh, I mean, yeah, maybe it could be. He's slowly taking master control.
Yes, he now runs everything.
I can do this all myself.
I can imagine. I would imagine you, for some reason, having three mics and then running between them to do the different voices.
That would be long. That would be a long delay. That wouldn't be a great listener experience.
Well, no, because then you use the plugin just to snip out the silence. Easy, not a big deal at all.
Remove long silences. Done.
Not bad. Not a bad idea.
But
we do from all the different mics we've used over the past few years. I could probably come up with a setup like that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
He says, looking around behind him for any extra microphones.
I would be curious as to what Nick's impressions of you and I were.
I know.
I think that's all the way around. I think we'd all be interested to hear.
I don't think I could do that.
Impressions?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I've ever really tried or thought about doing an impression of either of you.
Me neither.
Yeah, maybe not an impression, just like trade points of view.
Oh, that's way harder. That's so much harder.
Man. Like, can we do is that an episode idea? Like, we each do an episode as each other.
I lose already.
Andrew is visibly dying.
I could never.
Now.
I could never. I could never.
Well, let's see. What can we do then? We can talk about cars because we are, in fact, a car podcast.
We're not a face-off podcast?
Nope, we are definitely not. No John Travolta around here. So what do we have to talk about this week, guys?
Well, something that I think we should settle off the top, because what we tend to do in the past, we've had a tendency to mention something that we should do and then just never do it. So, in the spirit of that, what I have here is the full PlayStation Store library of racing and driving games. Okay. What we said, something that we could do is actually play a racing game and try to review it. So essentially the choice is this. I think we can do this one of two ways. The first way would be to pick a game, not necessarily new, but like fully featured. I mean, there is a new Grid game. Tristan and I both love Grid, and it's actually, on sale at the moment. If we wanted to play like a real game, that would be an option. Or we could do that. Or we could go bottom feeding in the discount bin and pick something $10 or under, something with this game is $30, but has a name like Police Chase. Or Retro Pixel Racers, or Road to Guangdong, which Road to Guangdong. I mean, there's a car in this game, so
that's good. We are a car podcast.
Road to Guangdong.
This is a ripoff of there was another indie game that came out where you and your uncle were traversing some Cold War era country in a car, and like part of the main part of the story is maintaining the car. Mm-hmm. This is a ripoff of that, transparently.
Yes, I do remember that one.
And then there's a game called Snaky Bus.
Snaky Bus?
Ride upon the Snaky Bus.
Hold on a second. I have it on the other screen here, but I just want to send you guys the picture of this because it's exactly what you think. The picture is of a snaky bus, and I really cannot think of another way to describe it.
It's straightforward. Snaky bus.
You
Oh wow,
snaky
it's got a
L
nice
bus.
symphony in the video you sent there. Oh
Yeah,
my
yeah.
goodness!
So the more people you drop off, the bus grows. So it's
Shouldn't
a
it be
snaky
opposite?
bus.
The more people you pick up,
You'd think, but it's a small concession to reality, I think.
and you can't hit yourself, then, right? So it's like that,
Right, like Snake, yeah.
like the really old video game Snake.
That's right.
Snakey bus. Oh, multiplayer. Okay, so we could play it. We could play against one another.
So we do something foolish like that, or in the both cheap and interesting concept, there is a game called Splash Cars where you start out in a drab isometric neighborhood, and as you race, paint oozes from your vehicle, restoring color to the trees. So essentially, the choice we have to make, which because I still think we should actually do this, and this is the easy way to do it. Do we want to play a quote unquote real game, something with game meat, or do we want to play some
Game meat and episode title? Mark it 6 minutes in.
Gamey.
Or do we want to take a chance on something that's a little cheaper, or do we want to bridge the gap, right? Because I noticed that that Need for Speed game from however many years ago is $6. I'm sorry, $5.
Even better.
I think it would be fun to. Now, this is just me. I think, honestly, we should put it up to listeners and let them decide what we do. But if I were to have a vote, if it turns out that we're having votes on this, I think it would be fun to play one of those real cheapy, weirdo bottom feeder games a la Snaky Bus, but review it as if we're like Game Informer or something.
Like, I have exactly the game. Just keep going. I think I just found what we're gonna do.
That's all I had to say. Tristan, what do you think?
Listen, I for one would like to purchase Snaky Bus and play it regardless. So,
I mean, who wouldn't?
It's an easy choice for me. But Andrew has the winner apparently.
I think I have the winner here.
Grand Prix Racing,
PS4 and PS5. Say the whole title.
Grand Prix Racing, PS4 and PS5.
So here's the description. High speed doesn't always mean victory. Nope.
That's true.
Take two. High speed doesn't always means victory. Show your driving skills in this racing tour amongst the most challenging world tracks. With its realistic physics engine and its realistic sensations, Grand Prix Racing renews the genre of racing games. Turn on the turbo and overtake your opponents in breathtaking races. Main features: 10 vehicles
simultaneously.
12 sport car vehicles to choose from. Full 3D, multiple camera views, true physics, best computer-driven car, artificial intelligence, realistics, sound FX, and optional rock musics. Top racing game as a main feature. Best driving experience and easy controls.
Yeah, that's a winner.
So I'm gonna go.
I love me some rock musics.
Optional rock musics.
Optional.
How dare you?
These
are not mandatory.
So you don't need to force them on anyone.
I mean,
I think that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I think this is the one. I think we do this one.
So that's our homework, is to purchase Grand Prix Racing PS4 and PS5.
So everyone can look forward to some... I can't imagine either this is going to be so unbearable that we're just going to immediately quit. Or, it doesn't actually say how many tracks.
It says 10, I thought.
No, that's 10 vehicles simultaneously.
10 vehicles simultaneously and 12 sport car vehicles to choose from.
So it looks like on the top of the banner image on the top is some sort of Lamborghini or knockoff thereof.
By the way, this is the hot new game. This
It
came
is.
out in February of this year.
Oh.
This is the
It does
hot
say, unfortunately, it does say one player.
Well, yeah, but you got to start. We all start somewhere.
So we got to figure out a way to actually create content out of this, like record ourselves playing it or screen grab, record the screen as we play, just to get something up there besides just us playing it and then laughing at it on air, which will happen. But you know what I mean? Like we need to give
I'm sure
them.
we can figure something out
I'm down.
somehow. I mean,
so
yeah.
do you think Andrew and Tristan, esteemed co-hosts, that these cars that we're going to see in this game are going to have actual like manufacturer and model names?
Oh no. Oh no.
Do you think they're even going to try to get close?
These are going to be well, they will look close-ish, but every single car in here will be a Unity Store asset. I guarantee you.
Yeah, it's there's this game does not have any licensing deals. Can guarantee you that.
It will absolutely be Unity Store assets. And that's, that's the name of the game, I think, at $5. But how bad can it really be? That's what we will find out.
We can find out. Actually, Andrew, I was trying to figure out a way to work this into the podcast, and you just did it perfectly. Months ago, I found these images, and I will start dropping them into the chat so you guys can see some other cheap racing game that could not get licenses for cars, and how they tried to get like super close, and some of the names they came up with are just hilarious. Like absolutely, like I'm almost like legitimately cried at some of these.
Oh, awesome. Look at this. Look at this.
So I'm going to start dropping these in the chat. The first one is the oh, here it comes. Come on. Upload a file. Here we go. Great content here, guys.
Oh, by the way, you can record on the actual PlayStation just with the what the heck's that called? The whatever feature, I forget.
Share button.
Oh, yes.
In
fact, it is the share button.
All right, guys. Try this one on for size.
We'll figure that out. Anyway.
Here is the Mazda Effin RX.
Oh my.
Mazda.
Wait.
Mazda. I'm not done yet though. Here comes the Ferrari with a PH.
Ferrari.
Here
521 TA.
This might be my favorite one. The Porsche 969. Where is that one?
Wait, what game is this?
I can't remember the title of it. I just screen grabbed the images.
The Borgia.
Oh man.
Here comes the Borgia.
Oh god. It has the logo on the front of it still.
Yeah. Here's what else do we have? The Lamborghini with a J. Daiblo. Daiblo.
Daiblo.
Fabulous.
The absolute best. What other ones do we have here? Who can forget the Honda SNX?
Snacks. The snacks. Which reminds me of when the Top Gear episode when they were in China and they found the Honda with a G.
Especially for you, Andrew, the Dodge Vipre.
Dodge Vipre. TR10.
The
Okay, but hold on a second. That one, the Dodge, the Vipre.
The Dodge.
It's like the only car that looks even slightly changed. Like the
hang
front.
on, I'm not done yet, guys.
The front bit is different.
There's also the the Mercedes Benz, Mursedes. No, the Mercedes Bands. I'm sorry, BANZ.
How dare you?
And the Chevy SHEVY Quartet.
Of course.
Mercedes bands.
I will post these on the Facebook page tomorrow, so y'all can see what I'm talking about. I can't remember the name of the game for the life of me. I didn't bother to look it up or to like even think. I was just laughing so hard at the car selection here. The Dodge, the Porsche.
That shit's a dash.
That Mercedes Benz kind of looks like a Kia picture.
An old Kia
Amante.
Yeah. Exactly that.
The Ferrari with a PH. Fantastic.
It's just nonsense.
I have a feeling that's what Grand Prix Racing PS4 and PS5 is going to be like.
Oh, absolutely. So, I don't want to spoil anything, but you can also buy this on Steam, where it is called Grand Prix Racing Online. Exact same game, exact same developer.
Fabulous.
Exact same flavor text.
Fair enough. Choose your platform.
Oh, wait. I could not possibly apologize enough. The Steam version has a little line at the bottom of the description. Race now and show off your driving skills.
Oh, okay.
Nick can't help himself. He certainly will.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So options for you guys, and I won't say more. The Steam storefront has screenshots, so
I will most definitely look that up.
get ready.
Get ready.
This is going to be great.
Are you ready, listeners, to see us racing various vehicles?
And they are various. No, I can't. I won't spoil anymore. Okay, I'm clicking off this. I'm clicking off this page. It was better when I didn't know anything.
Okay, so when do we want to get our homework done by?
I mean, I think 2 weeks. Should we say?
We'll regroup in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
On the Grand Prix Racing online
/ Grand Prix Racing PS4 and PS5 / Grand Prix Racing online. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome.
Either one. They're going to be the same damn piece of shovelware.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to that.
That brings up an interesting question that probably would also be better for a future episode. But so this isn't really a thing as much as it used to be, right? There were your official racing games, your real racing games that had car licenses or manufacturer licenses. And then there were the games like Burnout that didn't have them, right? They just invented tons of cars. Mm-hmm. But for a little bit of time in like the late or like mid to late PlayStation era, specifically Need for Speed did this. They had both, right? They had real cars and they had fake cars. And I just wonder if you took those fake cars, both from Need for Speed and from like Burnout, and kind of put them in a line, what would they look like now? Because no one does fake cars anymore, right? As far as I know. I mean, even there are these games that are like asset flips, right? And in the Unity store, there are in any video game creation store, there's going to be like a fake car, but it's almost going to be like 90% the same as a real one. They didn't used to do that. It used to be like wild imaginings, right? At least that's how I remember it.
Yeah, I kind of miss that too.
I wonder how they would look. I think maybe that's something we could, if we just pull like the roster from Burnout and other racing games of that previous generation, or what is it, 3 generations ago now, like GameCube, PS2.
Yeah.
Pull them up and see what they actually look like now when those cars are, well, shit, they're 20 years old.
Why are you aging us?
PlayStation 2 came out in 2000 or 2001?
I do not know.
Does it matter? It's
No.
it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
But yeah,
20
and then
years.
then you've got
2000.
the made up cars from Grand Theft Auto
Oh yeah.
that
Oh man.
like all the way back, you know,
2001.
every version up to 5. It's like, oh, you've got the clearly not a Lamborghini or whatever else.
Mhm.
That's an interesting
We talked about that, Tristan,
process.
we talked about that on the Kit Car episode. The Lamborghini, quote unquote, in Grand Theft Auto is actually based on the Kit Car
Right. Yep.
Lamborghini.
Yeah, the
Yep.
oh man, what was it called in that game? I don't remember. In Grand Theft Auto 3.
Do the Vision Gran Turismo cars count on Gran Turismo's like 7 Gran Turismo Sport? Because they're still officially licensed and they're partnered with the actual manufacturers, but they're like wild concept cars that are never going to see the light of day.
That's a good question because I thought originally those Vision cars they made one of like the first one or something, or am I tripping?
Maybe they did. I don't remember which would essentially just make it a concept car, right? You just make one.
Yeah, exactly.
But I don't know if that counts. If that falls into your, fake video game car bucket or not.
They've only reduced one at a time. I don't think these are real, actually. Although one was the e-tron Vision, so
it turned real.
Yeah. These are an interesting exact middle ground.
Yeah.
Because there's also the Bugatti Vision, which is clearly the Chiron. Like this is just the Chiron. This is exactly that car. Volkswagen GTI Super Sport. It's kind of just the racing car. There's an LF in here. A Lexus LF and a Mini Clubman. They're getting worse.
I mean, if you look at I think one of my favorite ones is I think we shared this on a prior episode when we posted the pictures. The Volkswagen's Vision Gran Turismo was the GTI Super Sport. It's like a ultra hot hatch. And
right,
it was
it's essentially the racing car, the GTI race car, the TCR car. But that one, it doesn't have a roof, so.
Yes, right.
I mean, all right.
Oh, that one's real though.
Yeah.
The Roadster Vision was a real car, it looks like.
I actually made that one. The Toyota FT1 Vision is just the Supra race car.
Yep. Maybe they started out fake, but they're like, "Hey, we're onto something here."
It's actually just a mix. It looks like all the VW Group ones were in some way kind of real, and then the other ones are a straight up mix of everything. Mm-hmm. Totally fake, just a race car, just a production car, Mini. But I'm so sick of Mini. I mean, I know they're a BMW brand, and that's sort of being repetitive saying that, but oh, by the way, there's a coming soon on the Gran Turismo Vision page. One from Jordan, one from Nike.
Really?
Okay. I totally forgot what I was gonna say. Oh yeah, I'm really friggin' sick of Mini, and I think. Who's buying those? Can anyone tell me that?
Yeah, I don't know.
I see them on the road, so someone is.
I do too.
But I don't know what their target demo is. I was super about it when they came out. Went and ordered online, put in your physical address, and they'll send you the customization book. So you can go through and see all the accessory options, and international where we'd bring our Audis for service also sold Minis. So we'd go over there and look at them, and it was cool, a checkered flag on the roof, and like I was losing my mind, at the time.
So British.
And that's me in a nutshell, though. It's like, hi, can I get a British Racing Green Mini with a Union Jack on the top, right? Like,
I don't even particularly hate that as a concept.
No, but it's like it's. I feel like maybe it's cliche to say, but I feel like they've lost their way by becoming such a large brand of their own. Like when it was just like the Mini Cooper and the Mini Cooper S, and then you could pay for the dealer to install the JCW package on it. Like those three options, and they were all the same car. And then you could get it painted in any color with stuff splashed on the roof, and like that was kind of the heart of it for me. And then like, okay, we're gonna make a bigger one. We're gonna make one with doors on the back that open like an ambulance. We're gonna make an all-wheel drive one. We're gonna make like it kind of deviated from just being like this little sub brand of BMW that did one thing specifically pretty well. And I think you mentioned it before, Andrew, like it was like almost a bait and switch with the pricing. Like, in the first 3 years they were around, it was like, oh, cool, get all this BMW technology in this cute little package that drove like a go-kart, and it was awesome. And then they raised the prices by like $10,000 after a couple years. And it's like, just buy a 3 Series then. Like,
the cheapest Mini two-door. No, the cheapest 4-door is now 28.4.
What about the 2-door though? Because that's what they started with.
27.4.
See, it's like
get the 4 doors. Stop it.
$3,000 more. You've got an entire Subaru Outback XT. Like,
wow.
It's it is. It is not that much more. At least you did at previous prices. I don't know what the market is now, but
it's almost the Mazda problem, right? Like, what are you getting for that price?
Starts at 41 now.
Which does?
The 3 Series starts at 41.
Yeah.
Gag.
Yep. So it's like they were the inexpensive, cool, almost like I want the luxury German version of like the Honda Fit.
Sure.
And then like just priced and sized themselves right out of any interest of mine, certainly. But
this is
who
insane.
knows?
I mean, I think I agree generally, but the one place I do disagree is that at least when they started, the Countryman and the Clubman were very cool. Now, one of my main issues is that no Mini has been redesigned ever. They just don't do that, apparently, which is kind of annoying. And I think the unspoken thing that goes along with these is, sure, BMW technology, for whatever that's worth to you. But BMW costs. These things are expensive as shit to run and repair, and they're not exactly reliable either.
Yeah. Yep. And that was always like kind of assumed like part and parcel of that, but you're not paying for a 3 Series. Like, yes, expensive to run, expensive to maintain, but you've saved a significant portion in purchasing them. So people don't care as much. I don't know. But
maybe
it's just a weird thing how much they've kind of lost the focus. And I feel like, that happens to a lot of companies where if they, kind of get their eye off the ball, if your eye is, if the whole point is like, I make a ton of different cars, I cater to everyone, cool. But like, hi, I've made this, weird offbeat sub brand with one car. Oh, people like this one car. Let's not make a better, updated, more refined version of that. Let's make 8 different versions of it that aren't that. Seems seems backwards to me. It's like people really loved this. Let's make a bunch of things that aren't that. Yeah, like it just seems weird to me.
But are close.
Yeah, but are close,
They're
exactly.
just close enough. No, I agree, Tristan. 100%.
Yeah, I don't know. I was wondering this when I, did my, I guess, semi-annual. What's every 2 years? Biannual every 2 years.
Biannual.
Just casting my mind about to see what, if anything, on the market would be an upgrade from my current car. And Mini is like the one company that makes a smallish electric-ish hatchback, and so they have that it's the which one is it, the Countryman, I always get the terminology wrong, PHEV, the partial hybrid, where it's partially electric and then gas powered after that, which
FEV.
is yeah, PHEV. You can't say FEV because FEV is full electric vehicle. That's an actual thing.
Oh, that's right.
See?
Damn it. PHEV.
Anyways. And I think, I don't know. I think that there must be a reason why no one is making those partial or is it mild hybrid? No, not mild hybrid. Those partial electric vehicles in the kind of car that people would actually want to buy, right? Despite the promptings of the media for the past couple of years, people are actually still buying cars. And Ford stopping making cars didn't stop people from buying cars. It just made them go somewhere else to buy their cars. So I don't know. It just seems like a weird way to go about it. And with Mini having one of them, that's kind of a sign to me that maybe they're actually doing it wrong and there shouldn't be cars like this because maybe people don't buy them. You know what I mean? Like I'm using Mini as an indicator for doing things wrong more than anything else.
Yeah, I think, when you're looking at the other thing is I think that regular cars, especially small ones, you can put a 1.4 liter turbocharged 3-cylinder in it or whatever and meet your emissions targets. To keep selling Americans the big vehicles that they want to buy, they're putting all this hybrid and electric tech in the bigger vehicles to kind of prop up their mileage numbers, to make them, frankly, at some point, based on some of the recent news, even legal. And I think that meeting those fleet emissions requirements is probably a big driver of what gets the PHEV treatment, and I think that's something point that is probably more important than we think it is. But
that's coming off of what you just said, Tristan. Can we get to what I totally forgot about as I wanted to be the main feature of this episode?
I believe I know what you're going to talk about. Go for it, though.
I don't know how this is going to go with you guys because I don't know how you feel about this. My opinion is that the Toyota GR Corolla is fucking bullshit and really, really, really stupid.
But you do like the GR Camry.
The TRD Camry.
Or TRD, yeah. TRD Camry. Sorry.
The TRD Camry. The GR Corolla, maybe if they took a whack at the Camry with the GR stick, it might be more worth it. I think the GR Corolla looks so dumb. And the way I saw people lusting over it on the timeline, I'm like, what are you thinking? Everything that you are talking about is the dumbest thing possible. What are we doing? It's got a 3-cylinder engine, which is what reminded me. Thank you, Tristan.
Yes.
3-cylinder turbocharged engine. Great, fine. 300 horsepower and 273 foot-pounds of torque to all-wheel drive via the dumbest transmission possible, a manual 6-speed. No, we're done with that. It's over. The manual is dead. It should have actually died off probably 10 years ago at this time. If you want to keep one or two of these around as wall hangers, great, but we should not be promoting this. This is foolishness. Race cars don't use those anymore. The manual is dead. It's no more. It's so stupid, especially a 6-speed. This thing could probably get great gas mileage. It says probably gonna get 23, 24 mpg, maybe, because the 6 gear is barely overdriven. That's nonsense. And this is supposed to be your economy car, or we're comparing it to the WRX and the Golf R, both which mightily handle it in terms of driving technology, both of which have some sort of paddle shifter, double clutch, or what's Subaru's thing called? The belt drive?
CVT.
Yeah, or they have like some tag for it, like some CVT tag. I don't remember. For like the WRX style one, no?
I don't think so. I think they just call it the CVT, but
fair enough.
I can.
And then for that to be your selling point, we're like, hey, unlike the other guys, we have a worse car. Okay, fantastic. That sounds amazing. I just don't know what we're doing anymore. Why is this car 10 years late coming to America, getting all the praise when Toyota knows that they could have made this car the entire time? This is not new for Toyota, and it's not a stretch, and it's not something that they haven't done before. It's not something they haven't been doing in the meantime. So we just kind of get this little turdlet kind of shit out onto American shores 7 years after after Subaru decisively won this category of car, and it's pointless and it's useless, and no one's going to buy it except for the people who do buy it to crash it, and they should crash it because they're idiots. And that's the kind of person who's going to buy it. This is not a car to buy. This is a car to not buy, so they never do this again. They need to make something better than this. This is a piece of crap.
Well, what would
the part of that rant that I agree with is the part that it's too late. I think it's something that we've talked about this in other episodes where we don't get the things that we should get when we're supposed to get them, but we have talked about why. And the why being, like you've talked about it, Andrew, with like, the hot wagons. Like we don't get the hot wagons, despite like, me being like, oh man, if they came out with that, I would immediately buy one. Except I followed through.
Right.
Right. Subaru released the Outback XT, and I was like, trade in the WRX and buy it immediately because I wanted a turbocharged hot wagon, right? But you always talk about how people go on and on about like, oh, Volkswagen should bring the GLI wagon over here or whatever else, but then they'll never buy it.
The Avant.
And it's like, it's like, bring the Avant over, but they'll never buy it, and that's why they never do. Well, someone at Toyota finally went, let's see if they'll buy this, and maybe it's too late, but maybe if people buy it and actually commit to this vehicle, it will cause them to bring over more right away, instead of, like you had said, oh, they talk about wanting these, but then they never buy them. If they release this and sell 5, we're never going to get anything good ever again from Toyota. Like, I know, like I know it's late, and you don't necessarily want to reward that, but if you want to get more, you have to show there's interest for that kind of thing here. So when they come out with the hybrid version in Europe, or the electric version in Europe, and then the previous one didn't sell here, they're not going to bring it over because, oh, well, no one's going to buy that. So I think there's a certain amount of someone needs to fall on that grenade kind of thing. Like,
yeah, take one for the team, man.
It's like I don't disagree that it's late and it's a half-assed effort because they've had this in Europe for years and they just now bothered to bring it over here. And that doesn't not make me mad at Toyota either. But it's like, if we also then say no one should buy this, then we justify exactly what they did by not bringing it over here.
I
So
totally disagree. And here's why.
I knew you would, but I had to say it.
I totally disagree because, again, first of all, Toyota's a company. They're a big boy. They make their own decisions. But I don't actually blame Toyota for doing this, because just based on what do we got here? Motor1.com. They're saying they're going to be 1,500 of the Circuit Edition, which I think has a big spoiler, and with over 5,000 core models coming out, which has a little spoiler. And I don't know what other differences are, and I don't care. But my point is that it doesn't matter necessarily how quickly these move off the lots, and the first wave will move really fast.
Yes.
And they'll probably sell out that whole production run pretty quickly, because there are people who are all hyped up for this car by car Twitter. But the reality of this car, I think, is so divorced from the hype of it that regardless of whether or not it sells, A, there's going to be more, and B, it's not going to be as good as you think. Remember what happened with the Toyobaru cars. You know what I mean? That car was ass, and it was very bad. And people fetishized it because of what it was, and that's exactly what this is. It's essentially something to project what you wish what you wish had happened in 2003 onto your midlife crisis. Essentially, you can buy this, you can buy the BRZ without actually going into debt, but fundamentally, I see this as the midlife crisis machine for millennials. Whether or not the car is good or of quality is almost not necessarily a part of it, because it shouldn't have been made. It shouldn't have been made like this. That's just what I think.
Yeah, but I think, midlife crisis, you're talking about throwing it back of what they should have made maybe in 2003. Everybody is on a nostalgia kick right now, whether it's TV shows, movies, cars. Like, the nostalgia piece sells, right?
Oh,
like,
yeah,
look
no,
how many reboots there are. Like, that's what the market is demanding right now. So the fact that they're making a car that harkens back to 2000, early 2000s, we'll say, yeah, that's probably the right move.
Oh, of course. And the marketing guy talking, from the marketing perspective, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, Toyota is a company, they can do their own thing. Even if this thing were to bomb, which it won't, they'll make their money back from it. But they also have evidence. They have equal evidence that if they slap appearance packages and a little bit of performance boost on their cars that do sell like gangbusters, which the Corolla does as well, I suppose.
Yep.
This is confirming something they already know. There's no need for this car. There are no TRD Avalons. There are no TRD Camrys. And if there are, they're a $15,000 markup at minimum. They just don't sit on lots. They're out on the roads. Maybe they're not being made, but COVID production difficulties kind of have to be put to the side because everyone has them. They sell and they look fantastic and they're reviewed really well. And there's nothing about any of that that's even remotely new to Toyota. One other piece of context I want to put out. This is guesswork here. So to my mind, link the GR Corolla and the Veloster N, right? Just as rough competitors. On Reddit, which I hate, someone actually did a little bit of math based on Velosters sold and estimated percentage of Velosters that were N's. So starting in 2019, about 13 to 1,500 Veloster N's were sold, which is 17% per year.
Okay.
A little bit of bizarre math there.
Yeah, sure.
But approximately almost 5,000 total since 2019. Which would be one of two ways to look at that. So the circuit edition would be the 1500, which would match the per year sales of the Veloster N specifically, with 5,000 core, which has the same power but fewer features, which would match like the so far lifetime production of Veloster N. So basically, they're having it both ways by creating a premium tier and creating a core tier. And obviously, because we know Toyota will push volume, I think they're actually planning this exactly the right way. They're going to sell the number of cars that they make while still fueling demand. So they're obviously very smart about what they're doing, and why wouldn't they be? Their Toyota.
Sure.
But I wonder if they actually took a look at the N when they decided to actually release this, because those are the same thing. Those sell. They do tend to sit on lots a little bit because Hyundai, but it's one of those things where you can't find them unless you do, right? You do have to call around a bit to find them.
Yes.
And if one does happen to sit because no one called to find it, then you can get it. But I mean, they still go. So
That's true.
I wonder if they looked at that production number wise and just like kind of ballparked it around there.
I wonder if they looked at that and also said, okay, how many of those people buying the quote unquote regular, we'll say, Veloster, like a Veloster Turbo, Andrew, like you had, would switch over to a Corolla?
Yeah,
would be, they couldn't find the N, so they settled for the Turbo. But if given the option, if we made another premium super hatch or whatever you want to call it available, they would switch brands just for the status.
Maybe. I mean, that's likely. I mean, listen, that's essentially what I did with my N line Elantra. I wanted the N.
You wanted the N.
But I realized very quickly, and talking to the people at the Hyundai dealership, they were like, not this year, not a chance. And I said, well, okay. And I'm glad I did, because, production numbers, and for a long time there was no 0% financing and all that good stuff. So, but it does bum me out every time I see an N. It's like, if I had just waited, is that what I could have right now? You know what I mean?
Patience, Kimosabi.
I know. It's a little bummer. Anyways, what do you guys think of this? You know where I stand on this. What do you think of the GR? Are you hyped to get one? Are you stoked for Broab?
I'm not. I just don't like it. So as staunch as my defense of their decision to do it, I don't like it. I'm not excited for it at all. But
yeah, it's not something that like kept me awake at night. I am a little offended by your ripping of the manual transmission. I mean, I get
That's fine.
Like, there's other things that are out there that are probably better, but that doesn't make a manual any less fun. Like, I don't think this is like they're intending this to be a driver's car, and part of that whole feel or that whole ideal is the manual transmission, where you're actually just that much more of an experience.
Well, no, but for years and years,
I'm not going to go get one. I love my Focus ST, and that's fine.
I know,
which has a manual, by the way.
I got that. But for years and years and years, it was a manual must because race car, and now it's not race car. So is it just like, hey, this is how they did it 60 years ago, so this is the way to do it in 2023?
No, I mean,
every once in a while, I like to go out and churn my own butter.
My take on it. Now, this is just me, and probably I don't think the same way the masses do, like you put it, Andrew. For me, the manual is not because race car. It's because like the feel and the experience of a drive. If that makes any sense.
It's I totally agree with that.
My heroes haven't driven a full manual transmission since probably right after I was born, right? Just due to motorsports technology. So for me, it was never because race car. It was because of driving experience and that feeling you get when you do it. That is, again, just me. I think you are more correct with the general consensus out there of the masses.
And I fully understand. I totally agree with you that there's nothing that feels like driving a manual at all. Even, regardless of what it is, there's nothing that feels like that because nothing could ever possibly replace the physical sensation. It's 100% body reaction, right?
Yes.
And there's just nothing that could ever come close because you're driving with your whole body as opposed to your top half when you're driving a manual.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, it's just over. Like I remember seeing this tweet from Bill Brownwell, like maybe 2-3 years ago, where he's like, the manual should have been killed off completely 10 years ago. And it was just like, holy shit, he's actually right. That's when I had my Veloster.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like, he's actually right. It's so dead. And I think that using it in places like this, not to say that development of a manual for a car like this is easy, because any development for a new transmission where you're not using it anywhere else is going to be difficult.
Yep.
And this, I mean, granted, Toyota just did the whole thing with BMW. So was this really a stretch for them? It doesn't matter. Developing a transmission is hard. And they're not using this specific box anywhere else because it has, probably twice the torque of anything else across their entire range. So it was specific dollars dedicated to this, and it better be good. But at the same time, why would you not use this opportunity along with the TRD, along with, both the TRD, the Avalon and the Camry, to develop like a super high quality double clutch Toyota gearbox for your high performance vehicles, like a real one with the paddles? Because inevitably that's where it's going to go. Sorry.
Yeah, so I agree. I think that the interesting thing is I don't think the manual should have been killed off universally across the world 10 years ago. Because I think even 10 years ago, there was a point where they were actually the cheaper, more economic option. Like, because you could get weird cars with a manual. Like you could get like I think you get like a Chevy Cruze with a manual or something like that. And
yes.
That was cheaper than the automatic and got better gas mileage than like the 4-speed slush box they put in there. And that wasn't that long ago necessarily. And I think there's a place for that. But I do agree with that as a performance car thing. We need to move on. It's something that, you can talk about the way it feels to drive a manual and how engaging that is. But I think it's something, and maybe I'm just coming from a place where the manual I had the most experience in is probably one of the worst ones ever.
That's true. People really hate that.
Oh god, it's like driving a fucking tractor. It's
long throws.
Remember, you drove my car, Andrew, and I had equipped the STI short throw shifter.
I was going to say, I would say that it was long, which I know I've said this before in the podcast, and I'll say it again. I would say the throw in your car was long, except I've also driven the manual cross track, and I had to get into the back seat to use the bottom.
Yeah, exactly. Because again, mine had the STI short throw shift kit on it, which made it only as long as an International Harvester's transmission throw. And because of all the emissions measures and other stuff in place on that car, first and second gear were not an experience. They were a trial. That car didn't do anything good until it was in third gear, which, I know that the other cars were not like that. I drove your car, Andrew, especially, and I was like, how is this 4 times better than mine as far as transmission feel? So I get that, but there's a certain amount of like being someone who I don't think either of you, I hope neither of you, take me as a person who doesn't enjoy engagement in driving and experiencing driving my car.
Well, no, of course not. I think
that like when I would drive the GTI, it took that little bit of horsepower, mental horsepower, off my plate so I could devote it more, much more monk like to the perfect line, looking for obstacles, looking for the perfect time to pass somebody on the freeway, like all those other rich experiences of driving a car. You could you could spend more time listening to the sound of the motor and just enjoying the sound of the motor and not using it as when do I need to shift. It's something that you can enjoy and be engaged with your driving experience and not have to be shifting your own gears.
Mhm.
And I think it's something that a lot of people like yourself, Nick, it's like, well, if I'm not shifting, how do I know what the car is doing? How do I, how do I, control it? How do I do this? How do I do that? And it's like, oh, what about, in the snow, the manual gives you all this control. And it's like, sure, maybe if, remember, I lived in Wisconsin and commuted to Madison in the winter. I drove that WRX in plenty of snow.
Mhm.
Do you know what I did in the snow?
Just put it in
Both
third gear.
both feet down. Like, you just hit the brakes and the clutch. You're not doing anything with the transmission to actually save yourself unless you're very, very, very skilled with like rally training. For me, I'd rather let the transmission take care of whatever it needs to do and stop myself in an emergency by using the brake pedal, the gas pedal, and both hands on the steering wheel versus having to figure out one hand on the steering wheel in an emergency situation and one on the gear shift. And call me, you know, call me weird, call me newfangled instead of old fashioned. I don't know, old fangled.
Old fangled.
But there's something that, having driven a manual car, a car with a double clutch gearbox, a car with a regular automatic transmission, and a car with a CVT, there's something that a double clutch gearbox and a good CVT can provide you with that same kind of sense of control and immediacy that a manual can give you without any of the physical effort. Like, I injured my knee yesterday. It would be a chore to drive that WRX anywhere now. And that, I would not be enjoying my driving experience
that is the
worrying
downside.
about, worrying about if I can even get it out of gear, because can I even push the clutch pedal? Like,
That is a downside to manual. If something on your lower extremity gets hurt, I had the same thing happen. I rolled my ankle playing basketball, and like,
Yeah.
how do I get home?
It was bursting out of my shoe. Like, it looked like I had a peach,
Ugh.
like on the outside of my foot. And oh shit, I need 2 feet to drive home. This is gonna suck for the next 35 minutes.
Yeah, and it's like,
Mhm.
versus I can throw a knee brace on and drive like a bat out of hell regardless of what my left leg is doing. And I'm enjoying that drive. There's nothing like driving your car, and there's nothing worse than driving your car when you can't drive it. It's
Yeah.
So I agree that I would differ from Andrew in saying that there might still be limited places for the manual to serve and efficiency from a cost and fuel efficiency standpoint where a good automatic isn't available or would cost a lot more. And that may still be the case in parts of the world. I would argue that our automatic transmissions here and in Europe are probably good enough that that's no longer the case here. But, there might be places where the manual needs to be around for that kind of thing. But I think from a performance standpoint, I'll disagree with Nick. Let me just disagree with everyone. It's
Good.
Feeling awfully contrarian tonight, Dudley.
I'm practicing for the episode where I pretend to be Andrew. But it's it's something that we can move on from it from a performance and even quote unquote driving experience standpoint. So
That's fair. That was a really good discussion. I'm very proud of us.
Yeah. It was just well managed, I think.
It was.
Yeah, don't buy a Corolla.
So, hey,
So-
here's something I want to touch on real quick before we wrap up, because I know it's getting close to that time.
It is.
This is something that former guest and dealer service consultant to the show, Brad Willickett, sent my way a
Hey.
couple weeks ago, and I told him we'd talk about it on our last episode. We didn't get to it. Something that he predicted when he was on with us at the end of last year. From Auto News, Ford will ship and sell vehicles without chips controlling non-safety critical features.
There you go.
He called it. As a guy on the inside, he absolutely called it. So I want to make sure, Brad, we give you credit, and thanks for being our man on the inside, our man on the ground.
Yeah, sorry, that's me burping on the mic. Yeah, no, that's awesome. We got to have him back on again. That was one of our best episodes ever, I think. So we got to do that again.
Yeah, anytime you guys are ready, I'm sure he'd come on again. My guess is he didn't tell all of his weird stories. So I'm sure he's got a few. He's probably banked a few since he talked to us.
Exactly.
So, yeah, thanks, Brad. Appreciate that.
Yeah, that's quite the thing. We talked about, how many features and stuff are being canceled or left out of vehicles now, but Ford's just gone, you know what? Here, have half-baked cookie dough instead of cookies.
Yep. Exactly. But the writing was on the wall, right? It was either do that or just not sell shit.
Yeah, they had
Ford,
to do something.
The take and bake pizza of cars.
I mean, that's what you want, right? You want
you want to pay for something and then do more work. Take and bake is a fucking scam.
Papa Murphy's.
The Papa Murphy's. Yeah, thank you. I was going to say Papa John's, but I knew that wasn't right.
Don't buy into that hype, folks. Take and bake is a scam.
It is a scam. Do you know what it kind of blows my mind, but at the same time, I feel like it makes all the sense in the world. You know what's sitting? Ford Broncos.
Yes, sir.
Like they're not flying off lots. They're not.
Nope.
I actually have seen a fair few of them, and they're definitely reasonably popular, but down at the local Ford dealership that has nothing, maybe 8 cars on the lot, they always have at least one Bronco in pride of place, right in the front of the dealership, parked across between 3 and 5 parking spaces, depending on the model. And it's always there for weeks before it sells. And then there's nothing. And then they get another one and it sits for weeks. And I haven't stopped to check the sticker. I don't know if they're marking them up crazy. I don't know if they're doing any weird crap like that, but I thought this car was supposed to be the SUV that launched its own brand and brought Ford into their new SUV centric model with user excitement. And what is it? What is it now? If that's not what the Bronco is, what is it?
I think it's.
Go ahead, Tristan.
I just think it's particularly funny that, one of the headlines is that, Jeep Wrangler wins 2021 sales battle against the Bronco.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, hi, let's not change a single thing about the Wrangler in years and be able to sell them infinitely forever. And, here's this, supposed new hotness Bronco. And, it was like 143,192 units of Broncos.
They sold 143,000 or they produced?
Oh, good question.
The sold a tick over 35,000 Broncos, 108,000 Bronco Sports.
Wow. Which one's the big one?
The Bronco.
Bronco's the big one. The Sport is the small one, right?
Yeah. So, this article sadly does not then go on to tell us what Jeep's sales were, other than more than that.
Yeah.
I was going to say, can we look it up real quick?
Yeah, but what this article does mention is interest in a lot of the other models that the Wrangler makes. Or the V8, the giant V8 one, because of course Stellantis.
Sorry, was that 2021 year of
Yeah.
sales were?
Yeah, 2021.
So Jeep was selling between 15 and 23,000 Wranglers per month.
200, no less than 204,610 Wranglers were sold.
They doubled them up.
Doubled them up.
They doubled them up.
See,
Easy money.
That's what you were saying earlier, Andrew, about the Corolla trying to enter a market that Subaru has already won. Like, legitimately drove the Evo away.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The
This is
Wrangler
kind of the
has
same
won
thing.
this
Like, this is a
market.
market you don't want to enter. Like, it's
I mean,
not going to happen. You're not going to succeed here.
Well, then, the other way to look at that, of course, is that selling half of what the Wrangler does is huge business. But I think the issue in my head, and maybe I totally made this up, maybe this is something I completely invented because of how heavily they pushed the Bronco marketing whenever it came up, and the pre-release and the launch edition, blah, blah, blah. It seemed to me that Ford coupled their new brand identity as a no car, all SUV lifestyle brand specifically to the Bronco, and then decided to launch the Bronco into its own sub brand, which they may or may not still do. I don't know. And so the Bronco, or Ford, would go as the Bronco has, and I guess it's gone pretty well, but I think that kind of describes what the position Ford's in. I guess they're doing okay. They got that F-150.
That's keeping them afloat. That's the workhorse, right?
They got the F-150. They have some sales in the Bronco, and they better damn well hope that keeps them going. I got Mustang.
Yeah, I got a Mustang.
So they got three.
Both electric and internal combustion forms.
By the way, I now drive past a Mustang Mach parked outside or charging outside the hospital, one of the hospitals I drive past on the way to work. I actually am starting to think that thing looks pretty good. It's yellow. And you know what it has just a little touch of? In the yellow, it's got just a little touch of Lambo to it.
I knew you were going to say Urus.
It's got a little Urus.
I don't know if I can make that leap yet.
A little bit, just a little touch of Rus.
Touch of Rus. Touch of Uru.
Exactly that. Anyway, I mean, it's still like, I don't hate it from the outside anymore. But then you look at the friggin' iPad on the inside, and it's like, what are we doing? This is so dumb.
You know what I saw on the street that doesn't look good is a Hyundai Ioniq.
It does not look good.
It does not.
Interesting.
Very too angular, too sharp. There's like little ribs going down the side, and like
my car.
on like the bottom of the door, like, so it's like a separate panel color. So like the one we saw was like a very deep, dark blue with like a hint of gray in it, like a steely dark blue, but it had like a matte gray, like fighter jet gray, like these panels running along the bottom of the door that had like these ribs in them for no apparent reason. Claire actually, I thought, said it pretty best. She's like, it looks like a really a really fancy washer and dryer stack.
I don't hate that. Is it huge? So I've heard people say that it's like big and you didn't expect it to be as the size that it was.
I wouldn't. It's not like a Yukon or something like that. But I did not expect it to be as big as it was. It's Like probably in the Equinox Traverse range, somewhere in
What?
there. Yeah, it's pretty.
Oh my god, that's bigger than I thought. I haven't seen one.
That's what I mean. That's the reaction. It's bigger. It looks like a stack of washer and dryers, and it does not translate well to the road, in my opinion.
Does
It was
make
actually following behind us, and the headlights were on. I'm like, the headlights look like a Dodge Charger or a Challenger.
That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
Does it? Am I wrong if I say that I actually don't hate the comparison to a stack washer dryer?
I mean, you can if you don't hate it, that's fine. I thought it was a good comparison, so
that's I'm quite comfortable with that. I'll wait till I see one in person, obviously, but I'm
and
quite
maybe it's just
comfortable
that
with
blue
as a
color because
comparison.
like you see those like deep dark kind of blue colors on some washer and dryers, like if you go into like a Home Depot or something like that, right? So
Sure.
maybe that
Oh
helps.
no, I actually see what you're talking about. Sorry, I just looked up Ioniq 5, and obviously all the commercials and the from concept all the way to regular advertisement, it's mostly been that, like, is it silver or gold? A metallic flake,
Metallic-y color.
whatever that is. The blue does look horrible. That is nonsense.
Yeah, this image here that has it on Motor Trend. This is the exact one I saw. I'll put it in the chat.
It looks
But you
exactly
see
like a Nike Air Max.
like these gray panels, and they wrap around into the bottom of the front bumper too on the corners, like, and they're ribbed for no apparent reason. Like,
For no one's pleasure.
yeah, I don't know what
I was
what they're
waiting for that.
trying to do.
Yeah, so the chat's being a little slow today. The blue is bad. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I definitely see what you're saying.
But anyway,
White is good though.
white looks okay.
Nice. White looks alright.
So anyway, you
Yeah.
brought up, you saw something that looked good. I wanted to go opposite
Something
there.
that looks bad.
Something that looks bad. It's bad. Okay.
Nice. Is that it? Are we done? Should we?
I feel like we can be done. We thought we were going to go short, and here we are at an hour and 15, just about, once again.
I told you.
I knew there was something when we were talking about it before. I knew there was something I really wanted to talk about, but I couldn't remember what the heck it was. And had Tristan not said 3-cylinder engine, I never would have remembered because I wasn't looking
welcome.
in the right place. Yeah.
Well, then let's get out of here. First, folks, you can find us on the socials. You can find us on Facebook by looking up Check Engine Podcast. Andrew, where can they find us on Twitter?
At Check Engine Pod. You can watch me anger tweet about the Corolla GR.
It's good.
About everything.
Yeah. Corolla GR, among other things. It's good entertainment. Good fun. Tristan, how about Instagram?
Also at Check Engine Pod.
So be sure to like, follow, share, post, DM, reach out to us how and when you can. You can ask us questions to answer on air. Give us topic ideas. Let us know what you like or dislike about what we're doing on this show. Anything you want to send us, please do. Thank you in advance. And thank you also for sticking with us today. We appreciate you listening. But like I just said, we don't want you just listening. We want to interact with you. On whatever platform you happen to be listening to us on, whether it be Anchor.fm or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever, be sure to leave us a review, preferably a good one, and or hit that subscribe button. Doesn't cost anything, and it'll just let you know whenever we put out any new content. If you do want your support to cost you something, and you're really into what we're doing, you can support us monetarily in one of two ways, or both. If you're feeling extra generous, you can go to patreon.com/checkenginepodcast, or you hit that support button on our homepage at anchor.fm/checkenginepodcast. Everything you pledge goes towards making this a better experience for you. Again, thank you in advance. Who are we shouting out, or what are we shouting out before we turn the mics off, gentlemen?
This is an exciting one. I will shout out my baby.
Oh, is that the first Check Engine Podcast baby shout out?
Yeah. She crawled yesterday.
Oh, she's mobile.
I'm not ready.
I was just about to say big step, but that's not yet. Not yet.
Big crawl.
She did it yesterday, like the actual with the hands in the knee. She actually was moving her little self. Not so interested in it today. Go figure. But it happened, man. We got it on film and everything, and I don't know. Like, what do you do? What can you do?
Be a proud daddy. That's about it.
It's crazy. I'm
Self-propelled.
not
Now
ready.
it's time to worry, right?
7 months. Yeah, exactly. She's 7 months now. And I mean, I guess at this point we only have days, right? It could be any day where she just decides that's the way that's what she's going to do from now on.
Yep. And she decides, hey, that's working for me. I'm going to keep doing this.
That's crazy.
That's awesome, man. That's so cool.
It is really cool. It's really, really cool. Yeah.
Wholesome way to end your show today, Andrew. That's awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
Tristan, what about you?
Well, I have been informed by my own brain, luckily, not by anybody external to me in any way, that I was remiss last week in who I was thanking. And I should have last week made this thank you, but I didn't because I'm terrible.
Agreed. Continue.
Wow, harsh. I was fishing for support, but thanks.
Harsh bark, bro.
However, the wife and I have celebrated our 6-month wedding anniversary. Things that seem unimportant to some people, but that first 6 months is a big one, I hear. So
a tough one.
Yeah. So thank you for an excellent first 6 months, and here's to many more 6-month periods.
Be prepared to. Do you remember when you got engaged?
Yes.
Make sure you still have to celebrate that one. Apparently.
Yes, and also, yeah, when we got engaged, when we started dating, and Jessica has all of our original wedding dates memorized as well.
Oh no!
So we're gonna celebrate all of those.
You do like fake anniversaries every time that rolls around.
Why the hell not? You know, you guys. Yeah, why not?
It's a unique story. Yes,
just say we deserve it.
That's a great idea. I love it.
That's awesome. Well, happy 6-month anniversary, guys.
Yeah,
I still talk about your wedding day like all the time, like how great a day that was. That was so cool.
That was great.
Well, thanks, guys. We had a good time too.
I hope you would have.
Hey, not everybody does, and I'm glad that we did.
I would like to thank my two co-hosts because they were willing to work with me on scheduling this episode and just allowing me to be completely 100% selfish this past weekend. So I am a big North Carolina Tar Heel basketball fan. We were set to record this on a Monday night, but it was going to land on the Monday night that North Carolina, it turns out, was playing for the national championship in college basketball in March Madness. So I said, guys, I'm selfish. I want to watch this game. So can we record to the next day? And they're like, yep, sure, go ahead. So I appreciate you both indulging my selfishness there. So I got to watch the Tar Heels blow the largest halftime lead in championship game history and lose. But at least I got to see it. And it's because you guys were like, that's okay, we can push the recording. So I appreciate it, fellas. Thank you very much.
Oh, our pleasure.
I'm happy we could provide you with that unique experience.
Yeah, sorry they couldn't get it done for you.
Well, it's all right. At least, like I said, obviously I would have rather they won, but
sure,
if they would have won and I'd not seen it, I think I would have been more upset than I am today. So
sure, there you go. There you go.
So thank you, Tristan and Andrew. And as always, thank you, listeners, for your continued support. We love hearing from you. We love recording this for you, and we cannot wait to speak to you again. But until we do, take care.